So I'm Phil Krell in Asheville, North Carolina, and I'm a poet for hire.
A poet for hire. I've heard of a lot of businesses, but I've never heard a poet for hire. So how does that work? Let me show him this. I mean, he is set up right here on the corner in Asheville.
So Asheville, North Carolina is very busker friendly. So busking is street performing, which we don't need permits here, and so I can set up with my typewriter. People come up, I ask them for a topic, which can be anything they want, but I prefer it to have some meaning to them.
Right.
So whether it's something they're going through, something they're passionate about, or I get a lot of people that want to commemorate some special day, whether a birthday or a lot of people get engaged or married here, and so I'll talk to them for a bit, ask them a few questions, and then in 2 or 3 minutes I'll use that information to write them a poem that's very personal to them. Yep.
Wow. So tell me about your background. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Jacksonville, Florida.
And how did you end up in Asheville?
I left and I went traveling for 2 years. I was hitchhiking the U.S.
Oh my God! Did you write a story about that?
No, not yet.
Wow.
But and so I hadn't even planned this. I just knew I needed a way to make it more survivable. You know, be able to get along. And I came here. This was actually the first town I came to 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. And I just passed through, but I saw like the street performers, you know, all doing what they love to do, and so I started. At first I would recite poems that I had learned when I was younger.
Oh, tell me something.
It's been a while since I've done that. I'm sorry.
My grandmother always made me memorize a lot of poetry, like Dorothy Parker. Do you consider Dorothy Parker a true poet?
I don't say if someone's a true or not a true poet. You know, they're doing it. They're expressing. There's like some people that I don't feel them, but that's, you know.
Cool. Okay, so you ended up here about 2 or 3 years ago.
So at first I started out just reciting them, or I would handwrite them. And then as I went in Austin, Texas, I finally got the typewriter.
I bet that's a good place.
Oh yeah, that was the first place I ever did it. And it was funny because I didn't know how to work a typewriter.
Oh, that's like an old-fashioned one,
Yeah, that's a 1960s Royal Heritage Deluxe.
Oh my God, I haven't seen one of them forever. I had typing class in 6th grade, and it was about that size. Okay, so do you have any poems that you've already written that you can share?
I don't actually, not on me, because like I just kind of write them and then give them to the people and they walk off with them.
Okay, so since this show is educational, it's open for business, let's talk about how do you market yourself?
Well, I use Instagram a lot as far as like I'll put my tag on the bottom of every poem that I write, so when the people go back they have that. A lot of them will take a picture of and post that poem to the internet so other people can see the work that I do.
And you're okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. And how do you figure out what to charge?
I leave it up to them.
So it's donation based?
I used to have a set price, but then I found that being donation based allows more growth for like bigger amounts. Yeah, every now and then I'll suffer like the loss, but you know, I like to say that I'm more bound by the art rather than the actual amount of money.
Did you ever hear the interview with Amanda Palmer? She is a songwriter, singer-songwriter, and I heard it on NPR, and she was talking about how she used to do the same thing for concerts, and then, downloading music, but she just decided to make a donation only, and it just multiplied like crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so you're on to something really, really big. Cool. Okay, so let's see, what else? Are you a corporation or a sole proprietor?
Sole proprietor.
And you stay in Asheville, you don't?
Yeah, I live here. I live right downtown,
Is there a better season? Is it summer?
I mean, it's starting now. I personally prefer the fall because, when it's bigger crowds like this, I can kind of get lost in the noise. Yeah. But, you know, when it's like...
Well, it's Easter, too.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy this weekend.
Yeah, so when it's just me... but, yeah, I mean, I do good year-round, except when it's too cold. You know?
Yeah. So how can people get in touch with you?
They can visit my Instagram page, which is @traveling, like traveling without the G, and then on poetry, and they can find me there.
Very good. So do you have a story about, one piece that you did that you really loved?
There was one when I first got to New York City, because I was there before I came back here, and I was in Washington Square Park, and I met this older woman who told me these stories about growing up, and she was a part of a group that Allen Ginsberg was a part of, so she was often around him. And then she wanted me to write like a very beat-like poem about New York City, and she loved it, and in the end she said he would have loved it too, and like that meant a lot, you know.
Yeah, no kidding.
Cool.
What a good endorsement.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Your parents, were they entrepreneurs?
No, my dad's more in sales, and then my mom I don't really see, but
yeah.
So I mean, there aren't many like creative types within my family, but I'm definitely the only one doing something like this.
Well, that's really cool. Well, I hope you also write a book about your 2-year trek across the United States.
Yeah, definitely in the plans. I just want to get a little distance from it, so I feel more comfortable. Like,
right. How long has it been?
Came to an end like a year ago.
Really?
Almost. Yeah.
Well, great. Well, I don't want to hog your spot here and keep people away from hiring you. So thank you for being on Open for Business.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.